Hey everybody, it's Pastor Steve on the Inner Circle. Hope you're having a great day. I'm really enjoying this warm weather we're finally having. I've actually had a chance to camp and go fishing and do some of the things that I like to do when the weather turns. It's been really great. I gotta say, I've really been enjoying it. I want to talk to you today, though, regardless of the weather. I want to talk to you today about how the Lord freed the Israelites from Egypt for a very specific purpose. And we find that purpose, at least initially, is to set them free to worship. In Exodus 10, verse 3, I'm going to read it to you here. It says, sorry, thought I had it up. Come on. Here we go, yeah. Exodus 10, verse 3, it says this. So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to submit to me? Let my people go so they can worship." Now, God was really speaking to me on Sunday. We had this intimate time of worship, and we were just kind of in that song, Heart of Worship, and that's a special song. I don't know if you guys know the story behind that song, but basically the writer, Matt Redman, was going to a church where they had some great moves of God during worship, and it was just a thing that God was just really on the move in his church. But the problem was people started getting more excited about the worship music than the actual move of the Holy Spirit. And so their pastor had a lot of wisdom, and he basically said, we're going to sit down the worship team and we're going to sit in silence seeking the Lord's face until we have a move of the Holy Spirit without the music. And it was slow going for I think a couple weeks, but then they found that it was their heart of worship, with or without the music, that really touched God's heart, and that was generating the move of the Holy Spirit. And out of that experience, Matt Redman wrote the song Heart of Worship, and that's why it starts off with the line, when the music fades and all is stripped away, and I just simply come, I'm coming back to the heart of worship. You know what I mean? And that was just really ministering to me on Sunday. I was just thinking, man, I've been in this for so long. I've been doing worship for over 20-something years, probably close to 30, and that still applies to me. That I gotta, every once in a while, have everything stripped away and just simply come and offer him more than a song. That he's looking at the heart. That's what qualified David to be king. His brothers were more qualified, but his heart for God, his heart of worship is what qualified him. And that's what we have always got to be coming back to. That's why I love the lines, I'm coming back to it. I'm coming back to the heart of worship. Well, in Egypt, when Israel was in slavery and God sent Moses to free them, he told Pharaoh, "Let my people go so they can come worship me." Now he wanted to set them free and give them their inheritance that he had promised, but he wanted to do that through worship. He said, "I want my people to be set free so they can worship." And I want to encourage you, if you don't know how to kind of just pursue God as far as in a heart of worship, the first thing you do is you just set your heart in a posture to say, "God, I don't know how to do that, but I want to." Start crying out to him in your prayer life. Start crying out to him in the services. "God, I want to know you more purely. I want to know you face to face." It's not just about the music and the experience. It's not just about what you can do for me, although he wants to supply all our needs. He wants to give us healing and restoration and all those things. But the point of it is to set us free to worship. So I want to encourage you guys this week, posture your hearts to say, "All right, God, I want to come back to that place." That if you've been there in the past and you've it's kind of slowly ebbed away, say, "God, I want to renew my heart of worship." That's what he was really challenging me to do this week, and it's just been awesome just to spend that quality private time with him in worship, where nothing else matters except for him showing up. And that's always what we're after in these services. We're after in the worship is just for him to show up so that we can spend time with him and let him do what he wants to do and not what our agenda is. So that's always how we're postured, on the leadership team, pastor and myself and the worship team, and it's always about giving God the space to do what he wants to do, to just welcome him in and say, "Go do what you do." So, but we do that through keeping our heart postured, through a purity in worship. And so do that this week. I want you to just say, God, I want to come back to that heart of worship. And if you've never experienced God's move in worship, then start posturing, God, I want that. I'm seeking after it. In your prayer time, say, God, meet me in worship in a way that I've never experienced before. Say that in the services, when you're seeking His face. I promise you, He's never unanswered that prayer. When someone comes with a pure desire to meet Him in worship, He always comes. All right, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Come ready to worship.